Hey everybody, Mr. The Fanboy here. This is my review of the August 5th edition of Impact Wrestling, which is also known as No Surrender 2015, and of course, Ring of Honor, the August 5th edition of Ring of Honor Wrestling on Destination America. Once again, an awesome night of wrestling for both shows. Let's start off with Impact Wrestling. This show started off, of course, the beginning started off with a tribute to Roddy Piper, who of course made appearances in TNA and think in 2003, 4, and 5, and then of course the first match of the night. He immediately started off with the first match of the night, and that was Mr. Anderson versus Bram. Awesome match to start the show. This wasn't as awesome as the match they had a couple of weeks ago. But this was an awesome match. Anderson wins with the mic check, and Bram attacks Anderson as he's walking up to the ring. As he's walking up to the ring. Um the um the next segment, at least I remember this being the next segment. The next segment, I think, had Mr. Anderson, I'm not Mr. Anderson, but James Storm coming out and berating Koya for not helping him win last week's mixed tag team match. After James Storm slaps Koya snaps and starts beating and beats down snaps and beats down on James Storm and hits the sky high, the sit down power bomb on James Storm, and then talks about how he's proud of his country, India, and that his name is Mahabali Shara, and of course the next segment of course had Gail Kim in her new gimmick defeating the Dollhouse when she hit her finisher on when she hit her eat the feet finisher on one of the Dollhouse members. Awesome match. I didn't really care for it, but it was an awesome match. The third match of the night was the match. The third match of the night was the match everyone wanted to see, and the match I was mainly tuning into this show to see, and that was Rockstar Spud versus Austin Aries. If Austin Aries won, he would get Spud's Rockstar name, and Spud would be just Spud. If Spud won, Austin Aries would leave TNA forever. This right here was an awesome match. Great display of technical wrestling from Aries in the beginning, and lots of back and forth action. Great storytelling. Aries portrayed the bully throughout the match, just bullying and beating down Spud, with Spud portraying, as usual, portraying the underdog. And Austin Aries controlled most of the match until the end, when Spud when Austin Aries was about to hit the superplex on Spud, and Spud reversed it into an was about to hit the brain buster off the top rope, and Spud reversed it into a super Dudley dog off the top rope, and pinned Austin Aries. Austin Aries turned face after the match and shook Spud's hand, and the announcers put over Austin Aries and thanked him for everything. I'm so happy that even though Austin Aries is gone, they gave him an awesome send off. They didn't bury him. They didn't bury him. But this was an awesome what's his name? Earlier in that show also, Robert Roode came in Bully Ray's office. Demanding even though Bully Ray gave him the night off, demanding that he change the stipulation of the match, because if Austin Aries loses and he's gone, that takes money out of Rude's pocket. And later on that night, Bully Ray gets attacked, is found mysteriously laid out by someone, mysteriously injured by someone. Then later on that night, Austin Aries and Robert Roode are talking about how both of them are gonna be fine. Emotional moment here. Then of course you got The next match was Eli Drake versus Drew Galloway. This was an awesome fight. I would have liked to see a more technical display between these two, but this was an awesome fight with Eli Drake constantly trying to avoid Drew Galloway, constantly trying to leave, and Eli Drake pinned Drew Galloway with a roll up pin. Also, of course James Storm and Mahabali Shera, which this was an okay brawl. This match ended in DQ when James Storm hit him with the cowbell. The main event. The main event. The main event of the night, which was of course for the TNA Heavyweight Championship. Matt Hardy versus the World Heavyweight Champion EC3 in a Full Metal Mayhem match. This was an awesome match. I am really happy. I'm really loving the way TNA is using Matt Hardy. I always thought he should have been pushed to the main event back in 2010 when he was in WWE, but that didn't happen. I'm finally happy TNA. Of course, he wasn't going to win the title here, not at 40 years old. But I'm happy TNA allowed him to main event Impact, and it made him such an important character. When Jeff Hardy left, gave him the push he always deserved, because even though I think Jeff Hardy has more of the it factor as a main eventer, Matt Hardy was always the better wrestler of the two, and was, in my opinion, just as good as Jeff Hardy was. That's my opinion. But this was an awesome match. One of my favorite moments in the match was when Matt Hardy hit the leg drop off the top rope onto the table on EC3. Of course, the match ends when EC3 knocks Matt Hardy off the ladder and grabs and takes down the World Heavyweight Championship, retaining the World Heavyweight Championship in an awesome, hard-fought match. Matt Hardy really put over EC3. Now I think Jeff Hardy is EC3's servant now. I think that was the stipulation they signed last week, that if EC3 beat Matt Hardy, he would get Jeff Hardy's services. Like I said, awesome episode of Impact this week. Happy that there was more wrestling on the show, with Austin Aries and Spud probably being match of the night. But like I said, this was an awesome episode of wrestling. I can't wait for next week's episode with the GWF, the GFW, Global Force Wrestling Invasion next week, which is what I read the spoilers on TNAWrestlingNews.com. But like, once again, an awesome night of wrestling. Last week's episode really wasn't that good because they were building up to this week's, but this was an awesome episode of wrestling. Now for Ring of Honor wrestling. Awesome episode of Ring of Honor. The show started off with with War Machine taking on the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks and AJ Styles defeated War Machine. Midway during the match, one of the Young Bucks, I keep forgetting which one is Matt, which one is Nick. I think it was Nick. Nick, midway during the match, Nick got injured and appeared to have got injured, and AJ Styles came out to check on his partner and eventually took his place in the match, much to the roar of the crowd, despite the fact the Bullet Club was supposed to be heels, but the crowd was in heavy support of them, was supporting them despite the fact they were heels and despite the fact they were cheating. Nick then reveals that his leg is not messed up. And super kicks one of the War Machine members, allowing AJ Styles to hit the Styles Clash. He goes back and pretends he's injured, allowing Styles to hit the Styles Clash for the 1, 2, 3. Like I said, awesome match to start the show. The next match of the night was Cedric Alexander, who is now a heel now, taking on a masked wrestler called the Romantic the romantic lovebird, something like that. I keep forgetting what his name was, but I think it's Rhett Titus in a mask. Anyway, it's a guy in speedos with a dress jacket and a rose and a mask on. Um, um, this was a pretty good match. Cedric Alexander immediately attacked him for the bell with three drop kicks in the corner. Three drop kicks in the corner. He controlled most of the match, and he won with his power bomb, like power bomb to knee finisher, power bomb to knee finisher onto the romantic lovebird, something like that, something like that. And after the match, the heel manager, I keep forgetting her name, she came in and cut a promo talking about how ACH, how the fans always told him to be patient, be aggressive, and wait his turn. That was the right thing to do. And she said they were wrong. That wasn't the right thing. That wasn't the right thing to do. That wasn't the right thing to do. And Cedric Alexander's partner Caprice Ice Coleman tried to come in the ring and toss some sense into him. Cedric Alexander shoved him, and then Moose came out and Cedric Alexander bailed. Main event was Kyle Riley representing Red Dragon taking on Adam Cole representing the Kingdom. Awesome match, awesome back and forth match here. Christopher Daniels, who was on commentary, who now wants to be referred to as the Mighty Christopher Daniels, got involved in the match, and Nick Kazarian got involved in the match, and then the match became a tag team match. The newly reformed Future Shock, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly versus Christopher Daniels and Kazarian, the Addiction. This was a pretty good match. I really wish they would have waited till next week to have this match, because I wanted to see Daniels in his ring attire. But this was still a pretty good match. The match ended in no contest when other members of the respective stables got involved. It was too much action to call, and I was also doing something else while it was on. But like I said, another awesome episode of Impact Wrestling and ROH Wrestling on Destination America. Don't have much to say other than another thumbs up, because both of these shows were awesome. All right, Doug out.